All right. Our next panel is going to be a first-time event. What we are doing is we are bringing together the perspectives of the adults and the youth in one single panel. It's going to be interesting to see what combusts with all that, huh? And we think that people will enrich our discussions with different perspectives, and we'll have a diverse range of insights, experiences, and wisdom. And so to introduce the people who are in this new panel, I welcome back to the stage, enthusiastically, our youth MC, Sophia de Olivier, okay? Back to the stage and with a very warm welcome now that everyone is back in their seats. Come on in.
Thank you so much, Sharon. I'm thrilled to be part of the inauguration of this new format. We will watch a discussion on the theme, Spiritism, a Philosophy for Us. Together, our friends will explore how the understanding of the soul's immortality can inspire a more tolerant and universally fraternal world, reshaping our approach to life, both here and in the afterlife. As the moderator for this panel, let me introduce Jana Machado. Jana Machado is a board member of the Spiritist Society Seeds of Light in Fort Myers, Florida, a board member and part of the Children and Youth Committee of the Spiritist Federation of Florida. Jana considers herself to be an ongoing learner and apprentice of Spiritism. Everybody, Jana.
Thank you, everyone. I must say that my heart is pounding. But thank you so much for the opportunity. Today, we have the greatest opportunity to do something new, and I am very happy to be part of this. So let's introduce, I'm going to start with introducing Marcelo Neto. So Marcelo Neto holds a bachelor degree in mechanical engineering. He is currently the vice president of the Spiritist Federation of Florida, the president of Leal and Fab Publisher, the vice president of Conscious Living Spiritist Group in Florida. Marcelo is also the board, part of the board in Dimension of the Way in Brazil. Marcelo. I would like to invite Rebecca da Silva. She is an undergraduate student at UNC Chapel Hill, already with a CNA license. She has been a member of the Allan Kardec Spiritist Society of Maryland's youth group since 2017. She intends to use Spiritist teachings in both her personal and professional lives as an inspiring travel nurse. Rebecca. Gabriel Macedo. Gabriel is from Florida. Recently graduated from Olympic Heights High School in Florida. He is a member of the Spiritist Center Chico Xavier, working as a youth educator. Gabriel is also part of the International Spiritist Council youth group. He plays the piano and loves the divine beauty of classical music. Last but not least, our dear friend, Leah Gouveia. She is an active worker of the U.S. Spiritist Movement and Vice President of the Spiritist Society of North Beach in Maryland since its incorporation in 2009. Leah manages enterprise applications and holds a Bachelor of Computer Science. Leah. I would like to add just something. It is such a pleasure to be here. We were talking how we were gonna do this, and we thought about, since it's a nice, cold Saturday, rainy, It feels like an informal conversation on our living room. So this is what we're going for. We are friends and, we consider family. So I will start off reading the first paragraph from chapter 1 of Heaven and Hell. The future life in nothingness. We live, we think, we act. That is certain, and we die. That is no less certain. But where do we go when we leave this earth behind? What it will be like for us after death? Will we be better off or worse? Will we even exist or not? Being or not being? Such is the alternative, forever or nevermore, all or nothing. We will live forever, or will everything end once and for all? Is it even worthwhile to think about all this? So with this question, I would like to start off asking Marcelo, because since we're talking about the gift of, life through the lenses of immortality, what best way to start bringing, this passage from Heaven and Hell?
First of all, I would like to thank the invitation that was made for the Spiritist Federation of United States. It's a great honor to be here, and it gives me a lot of emotion because I see a room full of chairs, not only empty, but full of chairs, anxious to make a decision and a change in their lives. And I'm also joining this group. This was an idea that Jenna had a few minutes ago. I'm going to read this passage from the Heaven and Hell. She changed a little bit the course just to give us a little anxiety, but
inspiration.
It's great. But I think this is exactly why we are all here. We can maybe go travel in life, and maybe 176 years ago, if my math is not right, is not wrong, the Fox sisters, something happened in Hydesville, the conversation among the sisters and a spirit by the name Charles Rosner, and a lot of discussions, a lot of anxieties. The priest, the demons are being manifested in that specific room, in that specific house. And then this phenomenon took place, and all newspapers are spreading all kind of news, good and bad, while we travel the Atlantic Ocean, and we see a few years later the turning tables taking place, and a different phenomena taking place, but making a different kind of approach in the minds of the ones that are experiencing something that actually they didn't know exactly what it is. And then came Allan Kardec, opened the veil of immortality. I see the topic, life through the lens of immortality, and we are trying to see through the lens of Spiritism, a different kind of immortality, a way of interpreting nature, unveiling before us its nature, so we can understand the law of nature and being more active in a way that we never thought before. Yes, there is life after death. There is nothingness, as Allan Kardec mentioned in this first chapter of Heaven and Hell. And by the way, I recommend reading this book, because in the first portion of this book, Kardec makes an analysis of so many religions and the way these religions analyze immortality. There's life after death. There's nothing after death. And because of all the phenomena that are taking place, and we see the proof, we heard Umberto, we heard Jussara, we heard so many topics being brought over here. But not only the speeches that they brought to us, when we see the rational way that Allan Kardec brought, the way that the scientific method that he uses to prove that there is life after death. In fact, there is hope. And all the suffering that we might be experiencing nowadays, it's just temporarily. Materialistic idea that took place in many places in the world, especially in the social media, in philosophical way of thinking and academic. This is no place for a soul that actually see that there is a future, and this future is bright. It's bright. We are children of God. I know, and I was listening to the kids, young adults with a lot of wisdom and bringing us so many experiences. And I remember my days with the hormones are kicking so much, and we thought that we know everything, but we don't know everything. Even nowadays, I'm younger, more time than them, and I still don't know everything. But I have a roadmap. The roadmap is Spiritism. So that's why we are here. Dive into these books, and you will see, making analysis, not that the way that we used to analyze in the past, in the different time of our existence. Analyze with rational way of thinking, because we are destined to be happy. I talk too much. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Marcelo. It is even hard to follow after that, but I'll do my best. I just want to say that I forgot, because I was nervous, I forgot to say that we will have, after this, the session for Ask Me Anything. So please have your questions ready, raise your hand, volunteers will get it, and then after it will be answered. So moving on, now I want to ask Leah. I mean, Leah is such a dear friend. So when we knew that we were going to work together, we were like, yay. I have a question for you. Why is it Spiritism an important, what is the importance of the Spiritist philosophy for us?
So thank you, Jana. It is, first of all, I'm very happy to be here among dear friends from both realms of life. And this is what I like so much in Spiritism, because it is the result of a collective effort. So no one really works alone. We are all together, learning with one another, polishing each other. And Spiritism is really a philosophy for life, a new way of living a materialistic life, with lens to the immortality as the theme. It changes everything, because we live our day-to-day in a different way, with different perspectives. Even though we wake up every morning, we go to work, and we live in a world that's very competitive and materialistic speaking, we still try to do our best. How can I do better today? So how can I improve myself today? How can I build a legacy, among my coworkers, among my friends, my family? And it's amazing. And as Uncle Marcelo was talking about his kids, we have here the youth of the body, and someone not so youth on the body, but maybe in spirit is still trying to learn and become better. And this is something we also learn with Spiritism. This package means nothing. We are immortal spirits. We lived so many times, so many lives, so many experiences. Maybe now we have a feminine body. Maybe we are, biologically speaking, in a youth body. But maybe these guys here have more experience than myself. They are wiser than myself. So it invites us to really look beyond what our eyes see. Another thing it was coming to mind, we were all becoming prepared to come here, and all nervous, because we do not want to disappoint Jesus and the spirits that entrust this task to us. And I was thinking, I think it's the feeling that we had when we had the blessing, the opportunity to reincarnate another time. You know, the spiritual friends were there. Go, you can do better now, and you're so afraid because you think you are going to fail again, and you think you are not prepared. So here, each one of us here, we are here to give our contribution, even if it's very small. We are truly honored, truly blessed, and we appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you, Leah. So I will change the order of what we already had it previously. Just because, I feel like we need to dive right in, with the youth. So I will ask Rebecca, in what ways can teenagers apply Spiritist principles in their daily lives?
Hi, first of all, I'd like to say thank you so much for the opportunity. And it's so nice to see all of you here. Thank you so much for coming. So first of all, I would say that it's for striving, not for perfection, but for progress and improvement. Since we're all just on stepping stones and it's all gradual change, knowing that change isn't going to happen overnight, but it's the effort and the intent, like they were talking about in the first panel especially. And that's just how we're going to improve throughout. And I think keeping that in mind, especially going to college at a pretty competitive place, there's a lot of competition between one another, and we have to remember that we're all on our own journeys and just going up those stairs. And yeah.
All right, thank you. I wish I had the opportunity to get to know Spiritism on my teenage years. I was already a young adult, but I am still very grateful for it. And I can see the huge impact on teenagers' life, kids, knowing these principles, because when you are out there, you make better choices. So thank you, Rebecca. Gabriel, what are the ways that teenagers can handle going through this planetary transition?
Hello. Okay, before I even answer that, I would love to congratulate all the teens that are here just watching. I am so proud of you for actually coming here. That's dedication. Okay, so we have to remember that when we go through this planetary transition, it's completely normal, right? It's part of evolution, right? The law of progress. And we have to remember that everything is happening for a reason, whether you think the reason's bad or the reason's good. My mom's taking a picture. All right. So, anything that's happening through this planetary transition, anything that's happening to you, with anyone, with your family, it's completely natural. You have to have faith. You have to have faith in God. You have to have faith in Jesus. And you have to trust your mentors. And you have to trust yourself and know thyself and know what you're doing. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. So one of the Spiritist principles is that God is good and just. With that in mind, I want to ask Leah, which is two questions combined. The first is, if God is unique, why are there cultures worshiping multiple gods? If God is just and good, why does God not stop bad things to happen? Get the other.
Hello?
Okay.
Right here. So as you can see, she picks easy questions for me. So here we go. This concept of God, we can learn on the Spirit's book what God is and not who He is. and the attributes of God. And there are a lot of philosophers trying to answer this question, right? If God is good and just, why we have so many injustices, so much evil in the world. And then it comes the idea that, oh, it is the absence of goodness, like darkness is the absence of light. It is up to us, human beings, who receive it, the task to co-create, to do the material work here, to have free will, to build a better world. So everything that we see that is not good and just does not come from God. It comes from us, human beings that are still very imperfect. They're still going this path of evolution. But there is hope, and when I see all these youth here as a result of education, years and years of teachers here explain to them that there is God and God is just and good and there is Jesus and spiritual friends. It gives us a lot of hope for better days to come. Because we all agree that we have developed so much, our intelligence, our technology, but how about our feelings, our conflicts, our emotions is still the same. The same questions that the old philosophers were asking at their time, we're still asking nowadays. So I think it's about time for us to really start acting and changing. We say that Jesus is our model and guide, and I was thinking, I think he's the biggest philosopher that we had incarnating here. Just think about his messages, his teachings, his parables, his example. He never condemned anyone. He never divided anyone. I mean, he didn't create Christianity or religion, right? He teaches love, how to love one another. And I think this is what we need to learn, how to love one another, how to spread goodness, how to spread joy and hope. And the youth here, it's a big responsibility for them to build a better world, that previous generations were not so good to leave this legacy for you. But also we learn through the lens of spirituality that we have the blessing of reincarnating, coming back here. So whatever we adults did not do, we are going to have new chances to do. So we have to hold hands and help build a better society. When I was a teenager, because believe it or not, I was a teenager in the past. I'm still are in some ways, but I remember I was 15. It was my first job, and I used to ask so many questions, so many philosophical questions. And my coworker used to say, in a very kind way, little flower, if you keep asking so many questions, you are going to starve yourself or going to become crazy. So as clear you can see, I did not starve myself, a little crazy still, but just to say we still have all these questions that we want to know where we came from, what we are doing here, where we are going. And Spiritism and the good spirits explain and answer this to us, and this is wonderful. So we have to benefit from this knowledge, but not just to become intellectuals discussing these philosophical ideas. We need to put in practice in our day-to-day, okay? And when is our time to leave this world, at least know that we are living a little bit better, and the world is also a little bit better because we incarnated here. So, thank you.
Thank you so much. Taking that answer, into consideration, I'm going to kind of try to link to another topic, because we all know God is just, God is good, yes. And then there comes the topic about free will. We heard about it before. So I would like to ask our teens, their view about free will. Because, we adults kind of have our view, so I would love, to hear about you guys. So Gabriel, how do we exercise our free will correctly?
Are you guys ready for the short answer? By acting correctly. Okay, no, all seriousness. Before I even get into that topic, question 459 from the Spirits book. How much do spirits influence our daily lives? More than we would imagine, for it is often they who direct us. We are under the influence of spirits all the time, whether the spirits are good or bad, our mentors or not our mentors. But some people say, well, if it's often they who direct us, then we technically don't have free will, right? Wrong. You have free will. It's like a person telling you, hey, do this. That's like a suggestion. It's like if you go do it, you're using your free will to do it. But if you don't do it, that's also your free will, right? So everything that you choose, every single one of your choices is you making it. It's you who's acting upon it, right? Not just by words, but by thoughts too. Remember, thinking, your thoughts also have a very powerful force. And guess what? By acting. Okay, so anything that you do, acting good or bad, is going to take effect upon you and other people.
I'm speechless.
See, he playing piano.
Yes. Rebecca, so okay, found it. Why is the concept of free will important for spirits in their journey?
So I think that free will is an extremely important concept when it comes to the law of progression as spirits, because without free will, we don't get a choice in how we want to proceed. And does that even mean that we evolve if we don't have the choice? And I think that it's an extremely great opportunity that God is giving us each life to perform our free will and try again and again until we start choosing correctly. And it depends on how much effort we put into those actions and those steps, and not just believing in a philosophy and actually being part of it.
Thank you. So today's topic, the main topic, we're focusing about the philosophy of Spiritism, but we all know, and for the ones who does not know, we do have three important aspects: philosophical, religion, science. I needed your help, because the next question is about science. Marcelo, can you help us and answer us, if you could, how can science prove immortality?
Well, we are in Boston. A lot of research being done, not only here, but so many places around the U.S. How can you explain your death experiences? And more than ever, we see researchers going through this direction. I had the privilege to participate, I am not a scientist, but in a experiment following some scientists in Pennsylvania, where some events and some kind of like mediums were being researched, being injected some kind of contrast, exactly. Do you know the research, right? This was in 2007, and basically, for example, we heard a lot about mediumship, and a certain portion of the brain are being utilized when we are conducting any intellectual activity, especially the frontal lobe. Forgive me, any doctors over here, if it's the frontal, the lateral, please. Oh, they told me it's a frontal, so please bear with me. The frontal lobes to be like actively performing, a lot of connections, a lot of synapses are being happening at the same time, so we can conduct any intellectual activity. But these mediums, when they were analyzed in a deep trance, the portion of the brain that are actually supposed to be functioning, performing intellectual activity, were actually not functioning properly, almost new. So this is only one example. We heard about, like, I don't remember which one said something about, like, Dr. Ian Stevenson talking about reincarnation, Jim Tucker following his steps. There's other researchers in Florida especially conducting examinations about, like, near-death experiences. I have a friend, he's still incarnated. He lives in Florida. he likes to race, car racing. And he suffered a very severe accident like 20, 30 years ago. And he says, like, well, he was in coma. The whole family is Catholic. And they called the priest, what is it called? Like when you... Extremunção. Well, please do the translation. Huh? Less what? Less right. To perform the less right. That's exactly what Jussara mentioned. Well, the priests were there, the whole family. He was like done, completely done. But a few minutes after, he came back to life, like 15 minutes after he came back to life. Everybody was in shock, was over here, was in Florida, the hospital. And they mentioned, like, well, this is impossible, the brain, everything, the oxygenation. So there's no possibility for him to be alive. But not only that, he described everything that was taking place in the hospital, in the corridors, and even on the roof. He mentioned about something that needs to be fixed in the roof. Oh my God, how come? And then they actually went upstairs, because this became like a research, and it's on the medical journals, and you guys can do the research. Ask me out after I see the clock is ticking, and I have a few minutes to say and summarize the whole thing.
Maybe a few seconds?
Yes. And this is only one experiment that we can see that science is approaching the reality that we are all having so long time ago knowledge when Allan Kardec brought us the Spiritist codification. Don't believe me, do the research. But more than that, read the books, the first book. I can relate very much with your case, because when I was 15 in the downtown Rio de Janeiro, I was brought up in a Catholic family. I was having a conversation with a dear friend of mine. He was the religion teacher. He was a Benedictine monk in St. Francis monk. They were all three of us, like, having a conversation in downtown Rio de Janeiro. I'm from Rio de Janeiro. Nobody's perfect, but, well, I was having a conversation, and I was 15, and I asked Don Cirilo, why so much inequality? And I saw across the street a lady, she was like carrying a baby. She was like miserable. It says, like, well, maybe she made bad choices, but if the soul is created in the beginning of the birth, like in the beginning of the join of the conception, right? Thank you very much. The conception. How come this little girl are experiencing exactly the same kind of suffering, maybe worse than her mother? And he gave me one of the most intelligent answers that I ever heard. I was 15, no knowledge about Spiritism. You know that I all have all these questions. One day, we all gonna learn, and we all gonna know the answers. I think there is in the book. I see. Now I know that me might be reading the Spirit's book. And then he says, like, do you believe that God is infinitely good and just? Yes, I am. Of course, I have to agree, otherwise it's going to be zero in religion. But now I really wholeheartedly believe that God is supremely good and just. So all the sufferings that we are having and we are facing is temporarily. To the young kids, hold on, hold your horses, and be very diligent, building something different inside of you, because you are the future I'm becoming old, I'm tired. I want someone to conduct the rest of the movement. And then, speaking a much better English than my English, disseminate this.
Says this, by the way. Always, and I always have to stop him and say his English is just fine. Better than fine.
Thank you very much.
I was like, we only have about 2 minutes and a half, so we will wrap it up, and I will do a question, and maybe if you can do like, a phrase or something. One of the questions we have is how to be a good spiritist. So I would like, you starting with Leah, and that will be our final statement because we have 2 minutes. Gabriel.
Well, I'm trying to be a good spiritist, a good Christian, which is exactly the idea of, okay, what can I do today better compared with what I did yesterday? So keep working, doing daily efforts, and when we make mistakes, do not beat ourselves, I think we also need to be gentle, kind with ourselves and patient, because we cannot really change from one day to another. So there are automatisms, there are things we have been doing for many, many lives. So it's not just now that I become aware that I'm going to be able to change, but awareness is the first step. So first I become aware, I get to know myself, so I can recognize few things that I already know how to do well, other things that I need to improve, things that I need to completely change. So first is the self-knowledge, the awareness, and after you start working to make changes, but being patient, knowing that you have eternity, you are not going to die, and this is the beauty of this concept of immortality and reincarnation. Even if I arrive at the end of my life and I realize that, I made the only mistakes, I can always start over, and I'm going to have a new body, new conditions, new ways of educating my spirit, my soul. So by now, I think all of us, we are very blessed because we have this knowledge. And this knowledge is to be used for our betterment, but also to share with others. There are so many people out there in need of these words, of these consolations. And the best way is really by example, by being kind to one another, I think.
Okay, so our time is up, but I would like to ask permission to have at least the 2 young people to give a very short statement on how to be a good spiritist, if you guys allow us.
Practice the teachings of Jesus, everything that he has taught us. That is the key to being a good, not just a good spiritist, but a good person in general. Mm-hmm. And to study Spiritist books also, like the Codification of Allan Kardec. Sophia, the youth MC, was bugging me. She was because last year in the symposium on the youth panel, she was saying how I was enforcing so much about reading other books. Yes, I'm reinforcing it, Sophia. So, when you read literally the first book, the Spirit's book, it's going to open your mind to other books. Get trusted authors like Camille Flammarion, Leon Denis, Divaldo Franco, Chico. All those books are going to help you with all the questions that you have.
Thank you.
Hi, so as our last final remarks, first of all, I'd like to say, does it do more good or does it do more harm? And think about, if everyone did the same actions as you, would the world be a better place or would it be worse? And then my second, really quickly, is what my mom always says, who's watching online, hi. By Haroldo. It's knowing that our life is a garden. So we have lots of different gardens, one for work, one for relationships, one for school, one for career, like lots of stuff. So we know that some are flourishing and some are not, but we have Spiritism there to guide us while we're going through all of it. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, and I loved being part of this panel with all of you, and thank you.